Hey guys, this is Mctogic, and welcome back to another episode of the Translucent Plastics Archive. I've got something pretty cool to show you today, and pretty niche. This is, it's an iPod Shuffle, but what we're talking about today is in fact the case for this thing. It's a translucent case, and of course we're all about translucent plastics here. So this is a really little nifty device, and a little nifty little accessory for the iPod Shuffle, the first generation of iPod Shuffle. Let's talk a little bit about it. So essentially, it's a translucent, fluoro, really quite bright green, maybe some might say yellow, green kind of case for the iPod Shuffle first generation. Of course, the iPod Shuffle first gen is a classic Apple device. It's got that really iconic form factor that looks a bit like a remote. It came with, it essentially looked like this. That's what it came like. And you had the bottom to be removable and basically became a USB method of charging. And also you could use this as a flash drive. So this came in 512 megabyte and 1 gigabyte models. It was released in 2005. So right on the dawn of sort of acceptable levels of flash memory, getting up to the 1 gigabyte, then 2, 4, 8, the flash drives start to show up in the next couple of years with higher capacities. But I remember my first flash drive was a 64 megabyte one. So 512 is pretty good. And the fact that you can use it both as a music player and as flash storage does make it very much worthwhile. And I think that Apple was really quite aggressive with their price point of, I think it was $99 for this. So pretty good. Now, the way that Apple sold it, it came like this, but then you could also connect it up to this, which is for your neck, so sort of a way of wearing it. Perhaps one of the first Apple wearable devices in that sense, and sold and marketed indeed as one. Steve Jobs, when he showed it off on the stage, actually wore this. And essentially what you do is you wear it around your neck and you've got the headphone jack there. So pretty nifty and pretty cool. I remember how cool it was seeing one of these for the first time. Back in the school playground, actually, someone was showing it off and talking about how many songs they had on there. Yeah, good times. Definitely a flex to have an iPod Shuffle or any iPod back in those days. So now, of course, it's just a collector's item. But I think the first gen Shuffle is a bit more unique than the rest of them. The Shuffle is kind of a unique device as it is. But over time, we've come to see that some have lost their value and become less sort of useful or relevant. But the first gen Shuffle is pretty unique. I think it's actually sort of just as valuable as it once was, because unlike the rest of them, which require those annoying chargers, you have to carry around the cables, this doesn't even require a cable. You can literally just carry it around like that, no case, nothing, and you can charge it, you can use it as a flash device, and the whole thing is built all in one. It's like kind of the ultimate Apple solution to a flash player. It's kind of regrettable that in later models they took out the USB port and just made it charge via the headphone jack and get data via that too. It's kind of lame because, actually having it as a flash device is perfect, and then having to add a cable in, a USB cable, ruins the whole point. You want to have this really integrated unit. So the first gen Shuffles, I think, kind of retain, maybe not their value, but their interest, to me at least. Now, and of course the fact that it's wearable is also kind of cool, because of course the second gen Shuffle fixed that wearable problem. This wasn't ideal, wearing around your neck, so they invented other solutions, the clips for the second gen Shuffle and future Shuffles. So I guess you could say it's an improvement, but also a downgrade. That often happens with Apple products. Anyway, getting to the main part of the story, this case might just seem like another piece of junk case that you would get from the time, and in some ways it is. It actually is quite thick though. It's got enough durability that, the way you look at it, and the way I saw it on the listing where I bought it, I thought it would just snap by just sort of putting a bit of force on it. But it is thick enough that it's not going to just break like that. It's sturdy, and it's probably going to last quite a while. So how does it work? It doesn't actually work with the iPod Shuffle in this configuration. You actually have to put it into this one, because it's a little bit longer, and that length is just what you need to get it into this and have it secure. So the way you put it in is you just want to lay it down there, and then you just press it in. And with a little bit of force, it'll just click in like that, and now you're ready to go. And I guess it doesn't really waterproof it. It doesn't really protect it from some water damage, I guess. But what it does do is it does protect it from getting scratches. And of course, some people just don't want their shiny new white device to get scratched up, so a case for it might seem like the right approach. Maybe also for a kid who is a little bit less careful with their device. If they drop it, or if they even throw it against a wall, it's not going to break with this case on it. And it only adds a little bit of extra width to it, so not a bad little device. Now, I do like this, not just because it's translucent plastics, and of course I'm kind of a collector of those things, but it is a bit ironic also. I do have a bit of irony in it, appreciating this, because it's well known that Steve Jobs hated third-party cases like this for his devices. They loved the idea of someone just owning, the raw device, not having a case on it, and just letting it sort of crack and scratch over time and just let it get that natural patina. By putting on this case, you firstly destroy the whole white aesthetic that Apple was going for, that pure, simple look, turning it into something that looks more like a cheap toy. And Steve Jobs hated that. He commented on people who put cases on their iPods and just said that they're idiots and that they should just let the iPods get scratched up and beaten up over time. I guess he didn't really care so much about preserving things, the longevity of a device, but more just appreciating them and letting them wear and tear as you go. So that's why he hated cases. And of course, he probably would have hated this color as well, making it really does make it look like a toy. So I do appreciate that from a sort of sixth sense. No real downsides about this thing, except for two that I noticed. It can sometimes be hard to plug a headphone into this when the case is on there. If you've got a thick jack that you need to plug in, then you need to take the case off, which is annoying. And then the other annoying thing is that, of course, while it's in this case, you can't plug it in and sync or charge. And that means that you have to remove it all the time. And removing it is thankfully not too difficult. You just need to pull on this top tab here just a little bit, just slightly loosens it up, and then it will just slide out like that and come out. And that's how you can just plug it in, charge it up, get it back on. So obviously you can't use this accessory either unless you're using the connected, rope, which it does just feel like a piece of rope. But that's okay. It's still nice. I don't know if I'll be taking this out anytime soon, but I did want to have it on a collection because I just think that in this day and age, it's actually very easy to get yourself an iPod Shuffle. But what it's hard to get is these old accessories that were made for them. And they used to be millions of these things around, but now they're pretty much all being thrown out, and they're much harder to actually find than the original shuffles. These shuffles can be got for $5 locally, maybe for free. I don't know. If you look hard enough, you'll just probably convince someone, and a relative may have one in their shelf or in their drawer somewhere. But the cases, that's a little bit more rare. And when this showed up, I just thought, I might as well get this. It's kind of cool. And I actually didn't have this part either. So I may be wearing this around and just listening to music on it. Maybe not with the case, because I don't think the case actually fits with the clean aesthetic, but still, it's nice to have that, and it's nice to have the case, and a little bit of Apple history there. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.